The Strait of Hormuz sits between Iran to the north and Oman to the south. It connects the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman, which then leads into the Arabian Sea and the wider Indian Ocean. At its narrowest point, the strait is only about 39 kilometers wide. But the actual shipping lanes used by massive oil tankers are just a few kilometers across. That means thousands of ships must pass through a very small corridor every single year. Why it's so important? Here's where things get serious. Around 1/5 of the world's oil supply passes through the Strait of Hormuz every day. That's nearly 20 million barrels of oil daily. Countries that depend on this route include Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, United Arab Emirates. These nations produce massive amounts of oil, but the Strait of Hormuz is their main exit to global markets. If this route slows down, oil supplies shrink. If it closes completely, global energy markets could face chaos. Why it's dangerous? Because of its importance, the Strait of Hormuz is also one of the most politically sensitive waterways on Earth. The region has experienced military tensions, tanker attacks, naval confrontations, especially during conflicts involving Iran and the United States. Even the possibility of that happening can send possibility of the Strait of Hormuz if tensions escalate. Even the possibility of that happening can send oil prices skyrocketing worldwide. That's why international naval forces constantly patrol the area to keep shipping lanes open. Why ships still use it? You might wonder. Why don't countries just avoid the strait entirely? The answer is simple. There are very few alternative routes. Some pipelines exist that bypass the strait, but they can only carry a small fraction of the oil that ships transport daily. For most Gulf nations, the Strait of Hormuz remains the fastest and cheapest, and because of that, the world continues to depend on it. What happens if it closes? If the Strait of Hormuz were blocked even for a short time, the consequences could be immediate. Oil prices could surge, stock markets could panic, and global energy supplies would face massive disruption. That's why experts call it the world's most important oil choke. Outro. A narrow strip of water, barely visible on the world map, yet it controls a huge part of the global economy. The Strait of Hormuz may be small, but its impact reaches every corner of the planet. And as long as the world depends on oil, this tiny passage will remain one of the most powerful locations on Earth.